Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, and today I'm joined by my co-host,
Mary.
And we are going to be talking about the 2-hour premiere of Survivor 41. Mary, excitement level 1 to 10 before this premiere happened. Where were you?
I mean, I was like at a solid 8 or 9.
Hey.
I was really excited.
When Jeff asked Abraham, he said 10. If Abraham knew where this was going, he wouldn't have said that. So anyways,
true.
I just want to, before we even get into this all the way, I do want to lay out what is going to be happening in each week's podcast for this season. That way you guys know what to expect. I will have chapter markers on the video so you can skip if you want to go to a certain point. But basically, we're going to talk about the episode and all the major events that happened and things that we thought, general stuff you would think of when you hear, oh, people are talking about an episode. But after that, we will do our winner analysis, analyzing who we think the front runners are to be the winners, just based on what we're seeing in the show. We don't have spoilers. We don't want spoilers, so no spoilers here.
No spoilers.
Yeah, definitely not. And then we will look at the Rebus puzzle. Mary will tell us what the solution to the Rebus puzzle is. It is meant for children. She did solve it in like 30 seconds, so I don't think that'll ever be a hard segment if it's made for children, but you never know.
It'll be the fun segment.
Maybe it gets harder every week. We'll see.
We'll see. It's for kids.
Yeah, it is meant for kids. And then at the end, we will answer your guys' questions that I asked for on YouTube. So with that, let's start. We started on the boat and we saw
No, we didn't.
Where?
Really. We started with Jeff walking down the path,
good
talking
call.
to us, which
Yeah.
was very unusual.
it feels.
I mean, Jeff always starts out talking to
Yeah.
us, kind of, but it was way more. It wasn't just telling what the season was about. It was very,
very meta.
yeah.
There's a lot of meta moments in this
Yeah.
episode.
And it was a little more chill. It wasn't like this bang season premiere.
That's
Let's
true.
get started. It was very meta. They showed the cameras and stuff like that on the boat. But anyways, it starts with Jeff walking down, talking about the season, and then hiding the idol right on the path.
He had what he called the beware advantage,
Oh,
which we
that's
haven't
right.
seen anyone
That is
find
right.
yet, so we don't know what
Not
that is
the idol.
exactly. Yeah.
He didn't explain it?
If he did, I didn't catch it. We are recording this right after the premiere finished,
Right.
so I don't have all the information in case it was revealed. So, I mean, if you have a note on that, let me know. But yeah,
No.
I wrote down that he said, this is the beware advantage. I'm hiding it here, which is great that we saw it because later on it came up with Tiffany when she was looking around and she
Probably had her hand right on it.
she was probably, she's like me looking in the refrigerator for something. It's like, where's the ketchup? I'm like looking everywhere but where the ketchup is.
Yes.
That was her looking for that beware advantage. Anyways, yeah, different opening by Jeff. It was way more chill. It was not anything like we're used to. It's not like standing on a volcano in Vanuatu
Right.
yelling out 39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor. He didn't even say that.
He never did that.
He didn't say anything like that. The most he did was like, this is like Survivor 41.
Right.
And it's like, oh, yeah. But what about the number of days and people, Jeff?
But anyway, so then it went to the boat.
It makes me wonder, is there going to be 2 survivors?
I don't.
He didn't say.
Do you really
He
think
didn't
so?
say.
I really
don't think so.
so.
I didn't say so. Yeah, but yeah, totally. We see a lot of camera crews in the beginning. And frankly, don't we see it again?
See it again.
Later?
I'm trying to think when it was. I want to say it
When
was
they're on
at
the
the
summit.
challenge.
When they're doing the summit, we do.
Was it the summit?
We see the camera up on like the mountain while they're walking.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to keep jumping ahead. So anyways, we're on the boat. Let's go back. We're on the boat at the beginning. Different boat. We've never seen this boat before. Not that that's fascinating. I just know
Fascinating.
I've seen a similar boat used, not this boat in particular, but in so many seasons like Edge of Extinction, Game Changers, Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers. They use like the same boat for all 3 of those seasons. It may have been used for another season. I just don't remember. It's just like when you see the same thing so many times, you're like, all right. It's just kind of like you don't remember it as well in your head. But this
Sure.
is totally different.
Brand new boat. Brand new season.
Still a boat.
Brand new era.
Yeah, brand new era. Drop the 4. Just think about the 1, Jeff
Yeah.
said.
That was interesting.
How do you feel about this dropping the 4, keeping the 1, new era?
I mean, we knew that was the goal, really. Like, this was a completely new Survivor. Not new Survivor, but like a completely new era. They've said it several times. They're really trying to rebrand Survivor. They did it with the numbers. They did it with all of the promotionals, I feel like. So, again, we talked about this in previous podcasts a little bit. Like, I'm fine with them rebranding Survivor. I'm fine with them evolving and moving on, because if you do the same thing over and over again, it does just get boring. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're trying
There
out
needs
new
to be
stuff.
variance.
So, I mean, it was a little weird to hear him say drop the 4. This is a brand new, but at the same time, you kind of expect it. Or I kind of expect it.
My position on that, if they really wanted to do, let's start a brand new era, is they should just call this season Survivor then. No numbers. And then the next season be Survivor 2. I don't know. Maybe that would have been too much.
It's too much.
People would have rioted in the streets. But anyways, yeah. I'm not too sure how I feel about it because Jeff did an interview earlier this week saying that the people from the first 20 seasons, like, basically don't even think about them.
He said they'll never return.
He said they'll never. Did he say never, or did he say
Okay.
they won't be returning?
They
anytime
will not
soon?
be returning at any future time for any foreseeable, like any soon future.
I think
Whatever.
it was a strong enough phrase, but at the same time it was open enough.
Oh yeah, it was open.
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, don't, like, it's not going to happen for a while.
I think basically,
thought that
like,
was
don't go
good.
asking for another second chances or winners at war. Don't go asking
Right.
for that. It's really what Jeff's saying.
No, I think that we need some new players, and I don't necessarily like it's every time you bring back a returnee now, it's just like that's all you talk about, and it's hard to get to know new people, and like there's great other.
The only
players
time there
out
should be returnees is in all returning seasons, basically.
Sure, and like maybe
Don't mix and
another 10
match.
seasons or something.
Yeah,
My opinion.
I just hope that eventually we can see our Christian Hubicki again. Angelina Keeley.
But
Rick
why? There's
Devens.
other Christian Hubickis and there's other Angelinas.
Well,
out
I
there.
know, and when they show up, I'll be happy. But I'm just saying that I hope that they get another time to play. I hope we don't shut out, all 20 years, or the first 20 years, as Jeff said. I think it's just a statement to like try to push us as an audience into the new era. But
Yeah.
okay, so let's really get into this because they do a lot of talking about COVID here in the opening, which I think is probably good because I imagine that no matter that there is someone who's watching the show and it's like, well, why didn't they air any seasons last year? Not in the loop. We're in the loop because it's kind of like my job.
Well, it's kind of obvious. But anyways.
It seems obvious, but I did see people on Facebook before this one premiered who were literally wondering why there's no seasons last year. So it may be the minority of people, but there were people. So they did talk about COVID. It was literally brought up in a few people's introductions to us as well. And that's another thing I want to mention. People's introductions to us, showing either footage of their life or like a picture from their life, like whether it's video or pictures, like
or recreation.
for most people. Yeah. Or recreation for most people though, like Sarah, for example, I believe we showed, was it her
and her
grandmother who passed away before,
Right.
during COVID, like showed her. When we saw, I believe Tiffany got on the season, we saw her like reacting like, I'm going to Fiji, stuff like that. What did you think about this new kind of intro to the players?
I liked it a lot because I felt like I was actually getting to know people
It's very,
better than just a really quick, so-and-so from this state and I do this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to win Survivor.
It's very reminiscent. I agree with you, by the way. It's very reminiscent of the first 5 seasons. First 5 seasons, we got basically an intro package of sorts, what you want to call it, where it'd be like, this is Richard Hatch, and he is I forgot what his job was, a corporate executive in Rhode Island. And it's like, you actually see, like, even though it's just a glimpse, you see a glimpse of who they are outside the game.
It helps you remember more about them.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's something that they kind of strayed away from, and I'm glad they brought it back. I'm not sure how I feel about this version of it. I guess they couldn't go to everyone's state and like get HD footage or whatever of everyone doing their job, but so I do like the bringing it back. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I will notice that I feel like, and I could be wrong, almost everyone's introduction felt like it had a sad story attached to it, like a sympathetic story is the way I would look at it. Not sad necessarily, but more
Pulling the
like
heartstrings.
hardships. Like it's almost like
Well, everybody does have hardships, but yeah.
everyone who got an introduction to this episode, because I feel like not all 18 people got an introduction had it with a hardship. But I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and rewatch and count. Like, okay, did all 18 people get an introduction? Did they,
Well,
did
Brad's father died.
Yep.
Tiffany's grandmother died.
Yep.
Sarah? JD was bullied.
JD was bullied. Sarah's grandmother
I already said that.
passed away from COVID. I know, I'm just counting through it with you.
Oh, yes. Tiffany had like breast cancer and ovarian cancer.
David was he was a doctor.
He's a doctor during COVID, so
Yeah.
that was stressful.
That was hard. I can't think of everyone. Danny was just a football player who got to watch a lot of Survivor. He didn't
he didn't have
he didn't have an intro package.
no sympathy.
No sympathy for Danny.
I don't remember. Oh, what is her name?
I'll let you look that up. But yeah, everyone's introduction, I do like the fact they had introductions. That's definitely something to look for, I think, if you're looking for who is the winner of the season. Not that we're to that part of this podcast yet, but if they didn't get an intro,
They're probably
could be
not
indicative.
a winner.
But it's a new editing technique added to this season. So
True.
I cannot
So we
say for a
don't
fact.
know for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say for a fact that's what that is. But did you look up and find their names?
Yeah, Jenny had like this emotional story about her and when her girlfriend proposed to her and her relationship with her mother, and
Yeah.
there was tears there. So yeah, it's just a lot of emotions and things in
A
the
lot of emotions. Yeah,
first
definitely.
Which to me, I mean, I'm not connected to these people yet, so I wasn't getting emotional
Yeah.
over any of the stories, but you know, it was a start.
Sure. And Ricard got one too. Yeah. So anyways, everyone kind of got one. So on the boat, I do want to mention, we got like Abraham saying that his excitement level's out of 10, which I think is now ironic in retrospect. But Erica was dressed like a Disney princess. Unreported story. Unreported meaning I haven't listened to anything in between us watching the episode and now, but no one's reported on this, so I'm glad we're on top of
First
it.
report.
She looked like what Disney movie would you say? It was like the blue.
I mean, I got Snow White vibes.
That's what it was.
It was just kind of.
It was Lucy.
I could see other princess
Sure.
type thing.
It did give me Snow White vibes. That was the word I was looking for, though. That was the name. Yeah. So, anyways, we start the episode, and Jeff's like, out of left field, by the way, for us watching at home. I'm sure this was brought up by a player or production before the game started, but the debate on come in guys. Mm-hmm. Out of left, I mean, you could not have told me before we watched this episode this is going to be a debate, and I would have believed you. I wouldn't have believed you. Didn't think this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, I'm like, was this an issue? And I don't remember anyone ever mentioned this as an issue, like online or like I don't remember anything. So it gets brought up. Jeff brings it up. He's like, does anyone have an issue with this? Pretty much everyone's like, no, it's fine. I mean, literally, not Evie. What's her name?
Evie.
Evie's like, as a gay woman myself, non-issue. And Jeff's like, okay, well, we're doing it. And then we move on with life. And I don't want to get too far ahead, but at the immunity challenge, then Ricard speaks up and says, actually, Jeff, now that it's day 2 or 3, I forgot which day it was.
I think it's only day 3.
I think it was day 3, yeah actually. I do not approve. And so Jeff's like, okay, we won't do it. And it makes me wonder, was Ricard the one who brought it up in pre-production? Like, someone had to have brought this up, because I don't think this was
If
ever...
you're saying it was never brought up on Twitter or anything like that.
I'm probably wrong.
I mean, that's where I feel like it came up at some point in the last year and a half between the past season and
I
now.
just didn't see anything about this. if it did.
Somebody, I'm sure somebody's brought
But
it up.
there's so many
online.
issues that have been brought up. I'm surprised this is the one. You have all the issues that have ever been brought up.
Sure, but it seems like they are trying to solve all issues that have ever been brought up at any point in the past.
In terms of, I would say social issues. Yeah, obviously not gameplay issues, because most people's gameplay issues is that there's too much things, and that is not what they're avoiding now.
They take people's comments in as far as gameplay, somewhat like getting rid of Exile or whatever.
Well,
eventually,
apparently,
but
I don't know if you knew this. Mike White from Dave vs. Goliath told Jeff no more fire tokens, and Jeff's like, okay.
Cool. He was probably already thinking it. Honestly,
I think Jeff only listens to certain people. I don't think he listens to the general fan base in terms of gameplay.
you shouldn't listen to everyone, anyways.
I guess that's true. Okay, so we had the debate. Originally, it's okay. 2 days later, it's not okay. So I guess from here on out, we'll never again hear "come on in, guys." So end of an era. We'd love to know what you guys think. Comment below. So anyways, we got this original. We have this original challenge where it's get all your paddles, all 6 paddles, specifically 6, 1 for each person. Get them, unclip your boat on the front and the back, and then go around this buoy and come back, and you get you get flint and a machete. Can you tell us, Mary, how this went? There's the green tribe, the blue tribe, and the yellow tribe.
Well, everyone got their paddles fairly quickly at the beginning, and everyone thought all their paddles were in the water except for yellow. And then yellow was like, oh, wait, we don't have all our paddles. So they keep looking. But then wasn't it blue tribe that pulled ahead, or was it green? I don't remember.
I believe it was the green tribe that won, if that's what you're asking. The green tribe won the challenge. Blue tribe still had their back of their boat clipped to the anchor.
Right.
Which would explain a lot of why they thought they weren't moving, because they probably literally got to a point where the anchor wasn't letting them go any further.
Well, they didn't really look
And
like
then
they
the
were
Yellow
moving.
Tribe had their last sixth paddle hidden, and
And they're going all around the boat
To
looking
be
for
fair.
it. They tried to go up where Jeff was standing.
yeah, Jeff's like tell David, I don't know how to say his last name yet, but David, he's like, no, I promise it's not up here, which I thought was kind of a interesting thing to throw in there, like having Jeff like be like, no, it's not up
Yeah.
here. But anyways, it turns out it was underneath the yellow and black net. The yellow and
But
black net is
all
a
of
hard one.
all of them were hidden in the same places. There was only 6
Yeah.
places on the boat that all the paddles
Yeah.
were hidden. And you can't tell me not one of those 6 players saw another of the other players getting their paddles out.
It's a crazy time. You've been waiting.
Sure.
You were in quarantine for 2 weeks. You're pumped up to play Survivor. Not too long after this, you're going to be looking for an idol on the beach
I mean,
day 1, which is a mistake.
Obviously, it can happen. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it can't. It does seem pretty ironic that nobody saw somebody
Sure.
else going up there and getting a paddle out.
I mean, but I will say though, that's what I'm wondering though, because the net was yellow and black, like it almost like it's a disadvantage to the Yellow Tribe, because the other 2 tribes, their colors was stood out against the yellow. But how is the Yellow Tribe supposed to stand out against the yellow?
Sure, but we didn't see other things on the boat that could have been like blue or green that they were under. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying out loud here that that's what I thought. I thought that the yellow net was a disadvantage to the Yellow Tribe. Not that I think it was rigged or anything.
No.
But
I don't know.
anyways.
Could have been. Who knows?
So Yellow Tribe and Blue Tribe do not get flint and machete, and everyone does not get rice this season.
Right. And anytime you lose, you get punished somehow.
Yeah.
Is what we found out.
Yeah, we found out that punishment's going to be your flint and machete taken away.
Right. I mean, it could be
it's
something
almost
else
like
later
getting-
on, but that's what
Yeah,
it is. For
as of
this
right
episode.
now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting grounded.
Yeah.
Like, you guys couldn't even win this challenge. Jeff's like so disappointed. He's like, give me your flint and machete. I'm done.
That seems really dangerous, though. I mean, I don't know.
No flint, no machete, no
flint.
rice.
Yeah.
Though no rice is going to wear on them here
Yeah.
soon. We've seen it in seasons 4 and 8. Top of my head, they got no rice, and they were suffering by the end. They did have 13 more days to go than these players will, but
True, it is a shortened
it
season.
played a big toll on them. So we'll see. So, anyways, the Green Tribes is successful. Yay, fun for them. It's not immunity though. It's just they get flint machete right away.
Mm-hmm.
So then let's see here. Blah blah blah.
So the 2 losing tribes then have a second chance to win
Yeah.
their flint and machete, but they have to pick between 2 challenges.
Yeah, and the challenges were called, I was about to get there, so thank you. We're called Savvy or Sweat. Can you tell us what the Savvy challenge was?
So Savvy was just trying to guess how many or count how many triangles were inside another triangle, but you only had one guess, and if you guessed wrong, you didn't get it.
I feel like that'd be a lot of pressure. You only got one guess, and you have 4 hours to think about it. Because both challenges, no matter which one you picked, you got 4 hours.
Yeah.
Via this massive hourglass. I wonder if they could keep the hourglass, or if that was just like for the
No, it
challenge.
gets smashed in the intro, remember?
Oh man, I thought you could like keep it, and then you're like, okay, everyone, we're gonna do 4 hour watches for the fire, and you have the hourglass flipping. it
Yeah, that
over.
wouldn't be a bad idea.
I don't know if they'll let them keep it. Yeah, so Savvy or Sweat. Neither tribe picks the Savvy option, so we don't have to concern ourselves with it. Though I would love to know the answer to how many triangles were in it.
I guess I understand why they both picked Sweat, but I'm kind of with David there when
Mm-hmm.
you have 4 hours to count how many triangles. Like, come on. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I think so David was onto something there because sure, you got 4 hours to think about it, but at the same time, I'm also thinking like, but then there's 4 hours of people debating. And then somebody's going to be the most confident, even if they're wrong. And that's the person everybody's going to trust. And then when
Yeah.
that person's wrong, it's going to put them in a hole. And in this case,
You're
sounds like
right.
it could have been David. So even though David wanted to do that, the other 5 people wanted to do Sweat. So they ended up doing Sweat. And by the way, David right away, we'll discuss that. That's the winner analysis part. I'm not going to worry about that now. David, though, does talk a lot about this decision and how it was made. But anyways, I want to point out that up through here and throughout the rest of this episode, there's a lot of, in my opinion, random slow motion footage. Like, the first time I noticed it was when Brad jumped into the water out of the boat, and it continued into camp. They're like just walking around camp working, then randomly slow motion chopping the bamboo, like out of nowhere. So what do you think about that?
It's very dramatic. I don't mind it. I think it does.
Definitely a decision, that's for
It's
sure.
a decision, and it's a decision to add more. It's just showy, it's just showy. It's not people just working around camp. It's people surviving and working around camp.
Which is so interesting because I almost feel like the way the season's going so far, it feels less like a survival and more like a game show.
More of a show, yeah.
Yeah. It definitely feels more like a show and less like a survival social experiment.
Right.
Which is how it's always presented itself as.
Well, there's still a lot of that. But anyway, so we still haven't got to strength or whatever.
Okay.
Sweat.
So anyways, so both the yellow and the blue tribe decide to do sweat. The yellow tribe almost was unanimous. David was the only one like, let's do savvy. And everyone's like, well, what about if you, David, you go get to do the sweat challenge? David's like, oh, fine. And then the blue tribe, Danny and I want to say Deshaun?
Yeah.
Could be wrong on that name. Danny, I know, was one of them though. And they're like, okay, we'll just do sweat. No problem. So sweat is you have 4 hours to go to a specific spot on the beach. I want to point out, it wasn't just like go to the water. It's right there. You have to go all the way down the beach with your little pan,
pot,
little very small pot. It seemed like it wasn't very deep, I guess the word, to fill up these 2 barrels, massive like fire barrels, with water. And when you fill them both up all the way, you get your fire and flint.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for the yellow tribe, it's a lot of hard work. They do eventually get it done. No drama along the way. However, for the blue tribe, there was drama. What was the drama, Mary?
Well, they're like running back and forth and filling up, and they're doing a good job. But then they're like, "Oh, everybody back at camp, they're probably talking and looking for idols. We should look for idols." So they just stop and they're just meandering along the beach in the trees looking for idols. And then Nasir comes to check on them and encourage them. And Nasir at the beginning of the challenge was like, "Hey guys, don't worry. We're just going to go back to camp. We're going to set up. We're not going to talk any strategy. You guys are safe, And he comes back just to like cheer them on or say hi or whatever. I think
Nasir was very sus of what they were up to.
He probably was.
Like that was not just a casual, I was just going to look out for wood and I happened to see that they weren't out there.
He does seem like a really nice guy.
People, though.
But wasn't everyone out back at camps women?
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, maybe he's like, you guys are like braiding. I'm going to go check on the guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so he gets like right at the moment.
Pom fronds?
Right. Yeah. Sorry, not braiding. But you know what I mean. He gets
braiding hair.
And we don't know how long the guys are looking for idols. It does seem like really, like the 2 shots they show, they seem like they're really taking their time. They're really exploring or whatever.
Yeah.
They're really not concerned about the water. It was like right at that time when that Nasir came out. So of course he's like, what the heck? You guys are looking for idols. And we said we weren't going to look up for idols. So instead of confronting them or talking to them, we're like, hey, what you doing? He just goes back to camp.
Okay, part of the challenge was they couldn't talk to
that's right.
the rest of their tribe. So if Nasir had done that, he would have broken the rules.
That's
and
true.
I think they would all got in trouble.
That's true.
So it's actually, even though it seems like he should have, like, hey guys, what you up to? He couldn't have done
true.
that. So.
I forgot.
No, that's okay.
But he did go back to camp, tell everyone else, and
the
start
rest of
some
the women.
drama.
And he did say, okay, guys, so we'll be a Final Four, right? And we get no confirmation from the other 3. Yeah, crickets, basically, on that Final Four. So I think we can all mark down on our notes that is not the Final Four. Because if it was, we would have gotten something more than crickets, for sure. It was just thrown out there. I will say, though, that neither tribe must have cut it that close in the 4 hours. I mean, they could have cut it kind of close, but if it was really close, we'd have gotten like a shot of the hourglass, like almost out of sand, but we didn't get that shot.
They both completed it.
They probably both did it in 3 hours,
right.
And it wasn't close enough to make it more dramatic with their slow motion footage.
Right.
So, both tribes get it done, which I think is what the show wanted anyways. They wanted them to have.
Sure.
And I want them to have.
It was more of the, do you want to do something as a team or do you want 2 people to do it by themselves? Decision.
I think what they could have done was, do you want 2 people to do it with the bigger pans or do you want 6 people to do it with smaller pans or pots, whatever you want to call them? That would have been a real decision. Like, you want 6 people to do it with little, with like,
I understand.
like less.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a better decision because clearly we saw nobody's doing this triangle thing. So I guess they could just put that in for next time as something to remember to improve if they ever do something like this again. Like 42, they could do something like this again because 42 will not have seen this season. So for them as well, it'll also be new. But anyways, the whole idea of Danny and Deshaun looking for idols in day 1, Danny said he binged Survivor like crazy, but he may have binged it, but I don't know if he was paying attention because this is like 101 Survivor.
I mean, doesn't Tony look for idols on day 1?
No. Well, he did in the season. He got voted out.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Game Changers, he does that, and he gets voted out right away because of it.
Okay, well, he didn't study all the tapes.
But I mean, like in Idol of the Idols, Jason does this and puts him on a target list. I believe Mike White does it, puts him on target list. Now, neither of those people got voted out first episode, and neither does Danny, to be fair. But it does put a target on their back.
Yeah.
There's just no need.
Well, they think they're alone. It's day one. Get your adrenaline going. Yeah. I understand, but it wasn't the smartest decision.
No, I just, it's not something you do on day one when you're still building the shelter. I think once shelter's built, go look. Well, once the main work is done, we got the fire, we got the shelter, then you go look. I mean, I've never played Survivor, so I'm not there. I can't make this decision. I wasn't sitting in quarantine for 2 weeks, probably binging Survivor. I'm sure it's what everyone's doing while they're quarantined. And being like, watching, everyone find idols, and be like, I want to do that. So
yeah.
it is what is glorified in Survivor Edit. Therefore, it makes players think, I have to do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but as Tyson said in Token Sheens, when Sierra says that, I thought the idol is the most powerful tool in the game, Tyson says, no, friends are. It really is the truth.
It really is true. You don't need the idol if you don't have
idols
friends.
can't give you votes. They
Right.
can't. The idols will not give you votes at the end of the game. If they could, Russell would have won Samoa. So, anyways, all right. The next part here, JD is just in a general sense coming on pretty strong. I wrote. Ricard observes this. Mm-hmm. When we hear from Ricard about how JD is coming on strong and how he's kind of with his personality, I guess, making himself a target. This is before the summit,
right?
Pre-summit. Well,
I think in the first couple days, JD is, you can really tell he's trying to make friends. He's trying to talk to people. He's just a likable guy.
But he's like 20 years old.
I think
it's probably.
But he's young.
Yeah.
Right. And he's just obviously trying to make connections with people. Like he probably was obviously going over to people by themselves who are working and being like, hey, how's it going?
In his intro package, he said he was bullied in school. And I wonder if because of that, and that had to be so recent, he's only 20, is it because he was bullied, he feels more insecure and he feels like he has to overcompensate in a way?
Probably. He doesn't have as much confidence as he will later in life.
Sure.
Yeah, probably. I like JD though, if I'm going to analyze him.
JD definitely
He's a very
stands
fun
out
character.
as one. Yes, I think we both agree. JD stands out as one of the most likable characters in this first premiere episode. My other favorite character, I feel like you're on the same page as Chantel.
No.
You don't like Chantel and her evil
she's
song?
She's fine, but she's not. The song was funny, and I did have that written down. That was hilarious.
I wasn't on the Chantel train before that, and then when she did that, I was like, well, if we're going to get this all season, let's do it. Let's get Chantel here till the end doing stuff like this. So that's the kind of stuff I want to see, the weird and quirky. I don't care if you're good at the game. Just be weird and quirky and have a good story.
She's good at the game, too.
That is true.
She's really good.
We'll get to that later. Okay, so JD's coming on strong. Ricard observes. Well, literally, my next note was Chantel's evil song. We did kind of just touch on that, but why was she doing an evil song, Mary? What was it?
She is forming relationships, but she's doing it much better than JD.
Oh,
she's
for sure.
Definitely doing it in more secretive ways. She's also allowing people to approach her and just whatever they say, she's like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. She's also, I noticed, really good at asking questions. She'll be like, well, what do you think about that? And or what would be your response, or how would you feel about this? Instead of just saying what she thinks.
And for comparison, she's 34, so she has 14 years on him.
Right.
So as I've said, I think previously in our 41 preview podcast, that is like the perfect age range. I feel like in Survivor, you still relate to young people, but you're not too old.
Right. She just, in every scene you see her, she is interacting with people, and everyone she's interacting with is usually relaxed. I mean, except for like the few scenes right before Tribal, but people just get along with her. They're relaxed with her. She's laughing with them. She's really good with people, but she's really low key. She seems like under the radar right now.
Yeah. I think she...
But she knows what she's doing. Like in her confessional, she's like, oh yeah, I'm making relationships with people. I'm talking to everyone. Yeah, I'm actively listening to everyone. She mentions that a lot. And so she's like, she knows basically that she has this evil plan. She says that she's being evil when she does this.
And really just playing the game.
It's playing the game.
Yeah,
so she starts humming her evil theme song. But what's really cool is that they then take the evil theme song and start playing it underneath scene clips
song that she made up.
The songs of her humming.
The first time she mentioned evil
really
song,
funny.
I was like, is this going to be a licensed song? And I guess it's not. I guess it's one she made up in her head.
No, it's just like 3 notes.
I'm glad. I'm glad. That way we could hear it, because if it wasn't, we never would have heard of this. If she like quoted like Van Halen's Panama or something. I don't know why that'd be your evil song, but
I don't know.
just as an example.
Song.
No.
But no, it was a really funny moment. I'm glad they took it and ran with it. It was cool.
Okay, so I gotta double check who did this. So my next note is that Nasir was totally thrown under the bus because when he came back to the girls, he told them about what Deshaun and Danny were doing.
Yeah.
But one of the girls ratted him out to Deshaun. I'm trying to look real quick who that was. What do you think about? What do you think that tells us? What is the story really telling us when they're showing Nasir getting thrown under the bus for this?
Yeah, Nasir is not making relationships well, and that could be the language barrier and the culture barrier. So it doesn't seem like he's really connected with anyone yet.
Heather threw him under the bus.
Heather. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Danny and Deshaun completed the challenge. They get the Flint or whatever, and they get back to camp. And yet they're like, oh, he said that you weren't even working. You were out looking for idols. Yeah. So it makes him look bad because they did complete the challenge. And it makes him kind of look like he's just trying to stir up drama. All he's trying to do is tell the truth. But it does seem like no one's really connecting with him.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because at the beginning of the season, Nasir's like, I learned English by watching Survivor.
Yeah, so sweet.
By the way, there's so many people this season who are like, because of Survivor, my life is enhanced now. And it makes you wonder, are all these stories true? I feel like Nasir's probably is, though. I feel like it would be such a strange thing to be like, I learned English. I don't know. I just feel like his story was like too unique. Whereas like a lot of them are a bit more generic in terms of how survivors help them. Like,
sure.
Like Heather's like, I grew up, I watched it with my boyfriend. Now we're married. Watch it with our kids. Like, okay, believable. Nasir's, I don't know. I don't know why
Heather.
I'm saying that's, my examples are bad. We'll just move on past my bad examples.
Names are also mixed up.
No,
but
Heather.
yes.
Heather. Well, Heather was one. Yeah.
Well, Heather was not the one that ratted out.
No, but okay. Well,
she might have been.
So here's
there.
our options on who ratted him out. If it was either Erica, Heather, or Sydney. It could have been Sydney. I just don't remember who it was.
I don't know.
It was one of those three.
Okay, anyways.
One of the three girls ratted him out. You pick who without us going back.
We just watched this, but it has been like an hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah, and I didn't take, I was trying to watch the show and not take too many notes.
Right.
So anyways, the next part is really, for me, was the plot twist of this episode. I think I had heard through the rumor mill there was going to be a summit this season. I didn't know it was going to be episode 1. And the way it was done in like season 33, last time they did a summit, was totally different. And of course, this is totally different from season 6 when they had like Jenna and Dave like hang out for a night and then swap tribes. So the summit here is basically a boat shows up at each camp. It says, you got to pick one player to get in this boat, make a decision, and they will return before the immunity challenge. And then, so each tribe kind of goes about this a different way. And I feel like the most drama we see of any tribe is the Lavu tribe, the blue tribe. Because it takes them, like, everyone's like, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. Danny's like, okay, well, I'll do it then. But it's like a long discussion. Yeah. Whereas the green tribe, I believe it's Uwa.
Ooh-ah, yes.
Ooh-ah. They basically just pull rocks out of a bag, which is the most Survivor way of deciding something where nobody wants to do it. But anyways, I guess the point being is Danny, Xander, and JD all get on a boat, meet at a different island. It could be Ghost Island for all I know. I don't know which island it actually is. I'm sure it's been used in Survivor before. They have to go all the way up the mountain though. Like, it literally means summit. That definition is quite literal. They got to go all the way up this mountain together, hike together. This is where we see we break the fourth wall again. We see a camera crew up on the mountain with them, which odd choice. Like, it made sense at the beginning. I feel like when they're like introducing us back into the season.
Here? I mean, you would know.
Here. No, I was like paying attention.
I really felt like it was at the immunity challenge too. But
it may have been. It may have been at the immunity challenge. I'm just saying. I know for a fact it was definitely up here on the mountain. Anyway, so they all get to, all three of them are like, hey, what's up? And they all, by the way, all three of these, if they get together at the merge, should work together. They all give the same kind of energy and vibe. And I feel like right away, all three of them were like, this was not like an awkward experience.
Right.
So anyways, all three of them go up to the top of this mountain. And then I thought originally, and I think they had the same idea, is that we're going to be given that choice that they have in season 30, which you haven't seen yet, but eventually you will. In season 30, the very first episode, everyone in each tribe's given a choice. Not everyone. 2 people on each tribe are given a choice. You can either get a small bag of rice and a clue to the hidden immunity idol, or get a big bag of rice or beans. It's beans or rice. I think it's beans. And
This sounds very familiar. I haven't seen this one.
maybe you have. I don't know. Maybe it happened
I
next season.
really think I remember this.
But anyways, I think they thought they were about to run into another one of those because they're all like, okay, when because we all have to split up and make our own decision without the other two people, let's all agree that we're going to do the same thing. We're all going to get the advantage if that's an option. That way, when things happen later on and people try to corroborate stories, we all say the same thing.
Right.
And therefore, it doesn't sound like, oh, well, this person told me this and this person told me that. So anyways, they all go down, and then what do they see when they go down in their own direction?
Like a broken wheel.
But what is
Well, there's the protect your vote or risk your vote, and it's I can't describe it.
Okay, that's okay. It's like a ship wheel, but like in the middle and the top of the wheel, it's broken. So basically, their decision is they can protect their vote or risk their vote. Now, here's the dilemma: if all three people risk their vote, everyone loses their vote at the next tribal they go to. If everyone protects their vote, all of them get to keep their vote. Nothing changes. That'd be boring. But if anyone protects their vote and anyone else risks their vote, whoever risks their vote gets a second vote that second vote can be used all the way up to the final 6 of the game. So an advantage, basically.
Right.
But they all agreed to
big
get the
advantage.
advantage, but they all can't get the advantage.
Right.
So let's start with Danny of the Blue Tribe. What decisions does he make?
Well, and he was all the one that was talking about, advantages,
Yeah.
but he just was like, oh, no, protect.
And he's part of the group that went looking for the idol the first day.
Right. But I think it probably was a smart decision because you don't know what's going on. I don't know what I would have done, but no, he definitely picked protect, and it wasn't even that long. He stood there, I think he said like 2 sentences, and then he just went for it.
I think if you were in his position, what would you have done? If you were in one of their positions, doesn't matter if it's his or not.
And I had met Xander and JD.
Yeah,
because that's
or
what
if you had met Danny and Xander, you're just one of the people in this group.
I think I probably would have risked it, honestly, just because I really feel like JD would have risked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have protected.
You
that
would have
was my
protected?
first instinct was protect my vote because I'm like, if I look at this group of guys, especially if Danny made the right call because Xander and JD seem younger and more immature is not the word I'm looking for, just like less wise.
Right.
I guess the word. And so due to that, you're like, they're definitely going to risk it. And if I risk it, then we all lose. Mm-hmm. But if I protect it, at least I don't lose anything out of this horror deal. So he made the right call. He was the only one because the other two ended up deciding to risk it. Though we never see JD actually choose the risk option. We just find out at tribal. Mm-hmm. Whereas Xander,
I would say that they made the right decision though because they ended up getting an extra vote.
Oh, this is the best case scenario across the board. 2 people get an extra vote and 1 person protects it. Like that's best case for Survivor.
Right.
If everyone had lost their vote, that'd been fun too. But the worst case would have been if everybody picked protect. Sure. They did not want 3 safe picks, which if you had me 3 times, you would have gotten.
Right.
So, no, this is best case scenario, I feel like, for the summit.
So it's interesting. It was a good twist.
It was interesting, too, because at this point, we're at with summits done, and it's like 8 o'clock. I'm sorry.
Oh, we need to...
For normal people, it's 9 o'clock. We're in Central Time Zone.
For normal people?
Yeah, for people in the East Coast, that's normal.
There are people all over this country in different time zones.
We're into an hour into the 2 hours, and normally it's a tribal council, but we have yet to go to tribal yet. And I'm like, are we doing a back-to-back tribal council? What's going on here? That's why I thought. What were you about to say?
No, I said we have to say the JD quote from that.
Go ahead, say the JD quote. I'm glad you wrote this down.
They do this epic, voiceover of JD saying some of the best historic decisions are made from eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So it was hilarious, just like the way he delivered it and the way they
he's so
edited it.
Sincere.
Right. And so he probably did eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and that might have been why they didn't
hope
show
JD
it.
goes to the final 3. He won't win, but I hope he goes to the final 3 just so we have him.
He's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, he's definitely the goofball of the season. I'm pro JD. So anyways, everyone comes back to camp. Oh, sorry. On that summit hike, Danny totally plays the no, I didn't play in the NFL card. He plays the Gary Hogaboom Hawkins card. He says, I didn't play in the NFL.
I mean, he kind of has to at this point. Everyone does it.
That's not true. That's not true.
Sorry.
Some people know when there's a professional athlete out there. Like Cliff Robinson and Cagayan, everybody knew he was a professional basketball player. It wasn't like a secret. So Danny though was like, "Oh no, I was a walk on at I think he said Purdue.
No, he didn't.
Don't murder me if I say the wrong college. He was a walk on onto some college team, but he never went to the NFL, which is untrue, of course. He definitely did. So Danny's kind of like playing a half Hogaboom card. What do you think about that? He's halfway.
I mean, I guess it's a little bit closer to the truth.
Mm-hmm. Is it smart though?
It's smart. I think people are going to hate you either way. They're going to not like you because you're an NFL player. They're not like you because you lied. So, I mean, I still think honesty is the best policy. I still think honesty is the best policy.
Sure.
Even in this game, with something like that, it has nothing really to do with the game except that you've made millions of dollars.
I hope Danny, in his binging of the seasons, saw Gary Hogaboom and thought, I cannot all out deny I played football, because people will see me and just be like, look at the way I'm built, and realize, okay, maybe I can say I just did college. And as a walk-on, by the way, Mary, sounds like he was not even that good, because he wasn't recruited. He walked on. And whether that's true or not, I haven't double checked his whole history. I think that's a smart move, because it's believable enough. He played in college, but he walked on.
Sure.
As he wasn't even recruited, and he definitely didn't play in the NFL for multiple seasons.
Well, we know that he's a better liar than JD. So.
Oh, definitely.
Wait, no, he didn't lie though. Actually, he told the truth.
But he's
still probably a better liar.
He's better socially, I think, is what we're really saying.
Yes.
He's definitely socially better. So everyone comes back from the summit, and let's start with Danny, since we're already talking about him. He comes back from the Blue Tribe, and what does he do, Mary? What's his decision?
I mean, he just sits down and says what happened. He just says exactly everything that happened. Yep. Even though, if there was an advantage, I think he said this, if there's an advantage, we're going to all take the advantage or whatever. And
Heather straight says, there was too many details in the story, and he kept them all together very straight for him to be making this up.
Yeah.
Yes, she does. And it's just it confirms us, though, via the storytelling that, okay, this means that the tribe believes him in a general sense, which is good. So then we get Xander of the Yellow Tribe. He comes back, and what does he do?
Exact same thing. And I don't know how you can't trust Xander. He just has that trusting face, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, he just says the same thing. Hey guys, this happened. We talked about advantages, what would happen. Yeah. This happened. I risked my vote.
He's like, if there was an advantage, we all would have taken it, I think.
Excuse me. He played it kind of in a way where he's like, if I risk it, we get a vote. Us as a tribe, it's an advantage for the tribe. So that was a good twist, because now he can just, I don't know what he'll do, but the smart move would be just oh yeah, I know. I guess everybody risked it, and I didn't get one. That was a
good call that you heard him say. He definitely, I think, didn't he tell them all? Did he tell them all that he risked it though?
Yeah, he told them.
And so he says, he
said, I want to play this game, and so I risked it so we can get a vote. If I don't get my vote, that's fine, because we're all in a group together, kind of thing. But he was definitely put it off as
selling it like it's a tribe.
It's for the tribe. Yeah.
We're going to go in the merge, and we're going to use this extra vote as a tribe. And they could. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they could, I guess.
Yeah. If he has a strong alliance.
JD.
And then we get to JD.
By the way, the first two people are totally you got to be honest with this conversation. Honesty's best. We hear from two tribes back to back. Honesty. You have to be honest. No lying. And then we cut to JD on the Green Tribe, and JD is a mess.
He just randomly starts talking about how his hair was blowing in the wind on the boat. He's looking so good. And then he looks over and he sees these two other people whose hair is blowing in the wind.
He's like, theirs are even better than mine.
Right. He would just, it's so obvious
and
that he was
everyone's face
lying.
is just please get to the point.
When you start a story with talking about your hair blowing in the wind, it was just
he's trying to be endearing. He's trying.
He was trying to add a lot. He was trying to delay the part where he had to lie. Yeah. He was basically fluffing it up and adding more and more and more, so that when he got to the part of the lie, it wasn't a big deal. Who even knows if he was thinking about his hair when he got on the boat? He was just there to tell a story.
It gave me Nora vibes from Island of the Idols, because Nora would go off on these kind of tangents. I especially remember when she was making her decision for who's going to do fire, and she's like, and then she says all these things, and Tommy's just when is she going to tell us what her decision is? And she's going off all these stories. Kind of the vibe I got here from JD.
Yeah, kind of. Because the other guys were just this happened, this happened. And he was just my hair was blowing in the wind, and it was a beautiful day, and I'm on a boat, and it's Survivor.
JD's our number one favorite so far.
Right. He's still my favorite. I think it was hilarious. Yeah.
No chance of winning so far.
But you could just, everyone's faces were okay.
Get to the point. And then he gets to the point, and he says...
Oh, I protected my bone.
Oh, yeah.
No, protected it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I feel
'Cause
like
I'm not gonna do
JD is
that.
the least believable of these three. Even if he told the truth, is the least believable of these three. That everyone's gonna be like, no, JD looks like he would risk it.
Oh, he would.
Yeah,
He would risk
like-
it. Yeah. That's
he
just
should have
obvious.
just said he risked it.
And then in his confessional, he was all, "Oh yeah, I told them this
Everyone-
great story, and everyone believed
Everyone
it."
bought it. Yeah.
Right, and cut straight to
No
Ricard.
read on
No.
the situation.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ricard's like,
that.
no, he just gave us a bunch of crap. So,
Right, and that is not good for his favor if he can't tell when people don't believe his story. He's
Yeah.
probably not going to last long if he can't fix that.
I think JD 0% chance of winning this game, but
Right.
could be wrong. Could pull Fabio on us. Who knows? All right. So the next thing, and I think this. Okay, so we get to the immunity challenge, and we already talked about the come on in guys. So that's no more. Now it's just come on in. Whatever. So we move on to Jeff actually telling everyone and explaining a new advantage. The shot in the dark. Can you tell us about the shot in the dark, Mary?
Well, if I understand it correctly, you each get a dice. If you
A
want,
die, I believe.
no, a dice is singular. Die
Oh, is
is
it?
plural.
I heard them say die during the episode. Okay.
Yeah, because they had a bag
Oh,
of die.
It was the group, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, so each player gets a dice. It seems like they can only use it once in the entire game.
does.
I would imagine. If they want to play it, they have a 1 in 6 chance of getting a basically immunity for that night, for that evening. But if they don't get immunity, they don't get a vote. Is that right? Yeah.
It sounds just like that. Yes. You get one chance all game. I don't know if it's up to like a certain point. If he
didn't
said
say.
it, I missed it. I'm
sure
sorry. I'm sure it's
it
Final
will
Six
be
or
up to a
something.
certain point, but they
Yeah.
didn't clarify that.
I'm sure it's up through Final 6 because we all know Final 4 is fire making, so they got to do one vote where nobody could play. Nobody could play an idol or nothing. So
And I was honestly hoping that this would be like they actually have to roll the dice, and whatever the dice lands on, that's
No.
the piece of paper they have to pick. But no, they just like put it in an urn and pick a piece of paper.
when they drop it in the urn, how will we know what it landed on? Because the
I
urn,
know, that's what I'm saying.
the urn isn't like. Is it like however Jeff pulls it out? I mean, you know
No,
what I mean?
I
Like,
think it's just showing that, oh, I've used my dice. Now I grab a random piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe there's like a hole in the bottom of the urn or something. We don't know.
we're gonna find out eventually. Somebody
I
eventually is gonna use
think it would have been really cool to actually cast the dice.
Which is interesting because Sarah kind of alluded that she might use it, and then she didn't, and then she got voted out. But
yeah, she should have.
Yeah, definitely. She alluded to it. At that point, I'm like, I think Sarah's going because why else would she allude to this? If she doesn't use it, she's going. So, anyways, all right. So, yeah, he explains all to them. They're like, okay, cool. Another thing to
Right.
think about this season. And then we get to the immunity challenge, standard stuff. Though I do like the puzzle at the end.
Puzzle's
it
really
looks
cool.
cool. I hope Vexel gets on top of that, making one of those as a replica.
Hint, hint.
But then during the immunity challenge, randomly for like 3 or 4 seconds, Reba's puzzle shows up.
Oh, it was so short. It was
Yeah.
like literally probably 2 seconds.
I was like, if without rewinding the television, how was I supposed to catch it? But it did have the website at the bottom. So if you go to survivorgwg.com, you can look at the Reba's puzzle yourself and figure it out. We will give the answer a little bit later. But yeah, we were wondering how they were going to implement it this season.
Yeah, we talked about it being at the challenges or tribal. And they might switch it,
It
up.
makes the most
I don't know.
sense at
It
those
does.
two.
I really thought that it would hang on it a little bit longer, but it's okay.
They got limited time.
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of like they probably gave it 5 seconds to be fair. I mean, not that that's a ton
I
of
don't
time.
know.
I'm just saying it definitely was like randomly during the challenge. Oh, by the way, here's
Right.
the Reba's puzzle.
And it was a good
oh,
challenge.
okay.
It was very dramatic and exciting. And I think they did it kind of more at the beginning, so you weren't like caught up in the drama of the challenge and then randomly you see the rebus but it is also a good time to do it because most people are going to be like engaged in
Yeah,
that
it was
part.
all. It was better than my idea of Jeff telling all the survivors, "Okay, here's the Reba's puzzle,"
Yeah.
and then the survivors are confused. So, I guess they had a better idea than I did.
Oh.
Okay, so then Jeff said, so Jeff did say this before they did the challenge, but first tribe to win gets immunity, our 2 tribes don't. I'm like, okay, cool. I actually like this idea. I think, in fact, I'm pretty sure I put this in my perfect season idea because I said perfect season for Survivor, 18 players, first episode, back-to-back tribal councils, 2-hour premiere. I could be wrong. If I didn't
They're
do that, I
stealing
was
your
thinking about
ideas.
it. No. I was just saying I don't think they've ever done this before, and I'm glad they did because I think it worked.
Yeah.
I think it totally worked. Gave us enough time to get to know everyone while also having their crazy advantage twist stuff. So personally, I liked the fact that only one tribe won and two tribes went to tribal because Blue Tribe won immunity.
It was a really good win because they came from behind.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if you watch the episode too, you notice Blue Tribe got a lot of screen time in the first like hour or so of the episode, and I was like, is Blue Tribe going to tribal? Why
yeah, you even said, oh, they must lose because they get a lot of screen time.
Well, I thought there was going to be an immunity challenge the first hour like there normally is. And I was like, okay, they're clearly getting us to know Blue because Blue's going tribal and therefore we have to know why somebody's going. But no, they're giving them screen time because the last third of the show was all focused on the other two tribes. Blue got nothing. So that's why Blue got a little bit extra in the beginning. My personal opinion.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But Blue wins, come from behind. At one point, Green Tribe, like, their puzzles are still in the bag. To be fair, there's so many pieces. Your adrenaline's rushing. It's a challenge. Like, it's crazy. Rough. It's just crazy. It's a pretty big puzzle, too.
And I don't know if we want to talk about this in detail, but honestly, I just really thought it was unfair that the Blue Tribe had all of their bags on their platform and one slid halfway off and Jeff made them go all the way back.
Yeah.
Fix it and then do it again, and it was like it was still halfway on the platform.
I feel like it was at least its foot was touching. Its foot of the bag was touching the platform.
At least a third of the bag.
What is our rule
platform.
for on the platform? I guess it means literally on top of it, not off to the side.
But it was so piled high, like it was inevitable. Yeah, anyways, I thought that was a little unfair.
If the Blue Tribe had lost, we could be discussing
I feel like it motivated them because they were so far behind that they just booked it, and the other two tribes are, oh, we're so far ahead, and they kind of calmed down a little bit.
I mean, really, the easiest part of the challenge was the part where they shoved that thing, like they slid it down. Like, that
demanding.
That was the easiest part.
Yeah, that was the easiest part. Sure,
which is the part they had to redo.
Sure, but still,
it was a little bit like we're really getting on to them about this,
right?
So, out of all things, but okay. So, anyways, Blue Tribe wins immunity. So, both the Yellow and the Green Tribe are going to Tribal Council now. For those of you watching at home, whenever the tribe loses immunity, that's when the real information of who's going to who's going to get voted out comes, because the first like hour 15 of this episode, like we learn about people, and some people are presented as targets like JD, maybe Danny and Deshawn, but like we get to its actual crunch time and all of a sudden out of left field, Sarah of the Green Tribe is presented as a target, and I don't remember her being presented as a target at any point before the immunity challenge.
No, it was just because she's the youngest, she messed up on the puzzle. And you could just tell she just lacked some confidence. She wasn't
socially integrated into the group.
Yeah, she was always being approached, and I don't think she ever, except for maybe with Chantel, she never really. Yeah, I don't think she connected that well with anyone yet.
Yeah, I told you too right before it happened. I'm like, I think Brad's going.
Yeah,
like.
And I said, no,
we just got done watching Winners. I mean, not just, but the last season that was live was Winners at War, where they would like give you almost no hint, maybe like a sliver of a hint, and then you go tribal, and that's the person that would go. And it's like Brad to me got that sliver of a hint, and so I was like looking for that. And instead, no, it was a bit more direct this time.
No, it's back to it's either this person or this one, probably this one, and yeah.
And Brad was kind of like the throwaway. Although I do think Brad is in danger now, and we even see it in the next time on Survivor. Brad's in danger
in the preview,
and Brad totally gets dunked on, by the way, by Sarah. She's like, Brad is playing this like it's 2000, which I think,
he kind of was.
Well, when she said that though, I was like, oh, Brad's going. That's why I was like, I was like, okay, because we just got out of Winners of War where it's like, oh, old school couldn't keep up with these new schoolers, which is bogus, but but now we're back to it, like dunking on the old schoolers, and then I was like, Brad's going, but no, Sarah went, so I think. Maybe to play 2000 was the way to go, Sarah. Maybe lesson learned. Don't be dunking on the old school play. Keep Brad safe.
Yeah.
Maybe not for long, but...
probably not for long.
And then Brad's kind of, in the next time on Survivor, channeling his inner Tony Flacos, whatever, and Sandra going all Spy Shack, so...
Yeah, looks like he was doing some Spy Shack.
Maybe he got out of the old school real quick. But yeah, Sarah totally paints him as that. So then we go... Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, you know what I really liked about this last half of this episode was really the comparison between Shan and Evie. Because both of them...
On two different tribes, yeah.
Right, on two different tribes. So both of them had someone that they kind of wanted to keep around. That was kind of the underdog.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to go home. Mm-hmm. And their approaches of how they went about it was just two separately. Well, Shan, not so much... Well, yeah. Evie was just going around and being like, oh, so, Abraham, Abraham.
Oh yeah, also Abraham out of left field is now a target.
And Tiffany, she's fine. It was Tiffany and Abraham,
Yeah.
right? Or Heather? No, Tiffany.
No,
sorry.
it was definitely Tiffany
Being
and
the mom
Abraham.
mixed up.
Yeah.
And she was like, Tiffany, yeah, she's weak, but she's like, she was just being super obvious. She was coming to people. She was playing hard. But again, this is like the very first
It's like
tribal.
day 2 or 3.
So she gets her way. Abraham goes home.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are going to start recognizing, oh, she plays hard. She makes gameplay. She probably needs to go soon.
In a group of now only 5 people, it's hard not to notice who is playing the hardest.
Right. Shan, on the other hand, she just listens at all the groups. She hears what everyone's saying. She asks questions. What would you rather do?
Yeah.
And then at
She
tribal,
influences the group versus
she influences versus trying to
forcing her
direct.
own,
Yes, that's exactly it. So I really liked how they kind of, I think, played that up between the two. And I really think Shan is going to go pretty far. But anyways, so then we go to
We
tribal.
haven't got to our winner analysis
I know.
part yet, but I do know. I'm just saying I agree with you. I think that's a good observation that I didn't even have a note for. That's a great comparison between the two of them. Because let's talk about the yellow tribal council first. This is the one that happened first. So this one's almost pretty straightforward because what happens is basically what we see at camp with the yellow tribe is Abraham's like, all right, let's get rid of who is weakest, Tiffany, because she's not going to be helpful in challenges. And everyone's like, I know, Abraham, you're thinking about us not winning. I know you're trying to help us win immunities, but we're not about that life. We're here to make connections, okay? The alliance I make on day 2 and 3 will carry me to the end of the game. And to be fair, in Past Survivor, that's
possible.
has happened.
Yeah.
But I
also still have
sure
to
hope
win.
they vote out Abraham because of more than just his thought process, because Abraham's playing a predictable game. And in my opinion, I want people around me who are predictable, because predictable is great. People are predictable, and I know exactly how they're thinking is great. But I don't totally understand the 3 women being like, well, that's not good for us because that means we're gonna go.
Right. And they brought that up.
Good on the women.
Yeah.
To fight back on that.
And it could have been, we do see lots of scenes of him being like, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. And everybody's just kind of like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't
could
really
have
a
been a
discussion.
personality thing too.
It definitely wasn't a discussion. Abraham kind of just told people, here's what we're doing. Like he was kind of like leading the pack, bulldozing in a way, and everyone's like, all right, But no, what happens at tribal council is pretty straightforward. Abraham goes 5-1. Like no
Although,
contest.
Again, we didn't mention that Jeff right before looks directly in the camera and is like, first tribal council.
Oh,
Let's
I
go.
know. The meta, man. It's too much. I'm surprised they didn't show all the cameramen shooting the tribal council while they're at it. So anyways, okay. So Abraham goes. Then the green tribal council, the I believe it. This is the interesting one because so it's up in the air. It seems like it's either between Sarah, JD, or Brad. No, not really Brad.
Brad never
as much.
gets brought up. That was just
I know,
you
it's
because
just
of
me,
the
I
one
guess.
throwaway comment. Yeah. It was really
my
between
mind, it was
JD
Brad.
and Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's between JD and Sarah. It seems like it's how it's presented.
Well, no, you're right. Because didn't Ricard top up and tell Sean vote Brad?
Yeah, and when he started doing that, I was like, thank you for reminding me. When he started doing that, I was like, see, I told you Brad was going. You're like, you're right, there goes Brad. And I think really what tells us that Brad's next. If things go, nothing changes, Brad's next.
So it definitely it became a live tribal.
But there
and
has
JD
been
was like, let's go,
seasons.
yeah.
But there has been seasons where somebody's presented like this, and then they go way further. They don't win, but they go way further then. Because they know their back's against the wall. I think it's really important. If you know where you stand in the tribe, even if you're at the bottom, it's beneficial just to know where you're at. Because at least you know what you're supposed to do. Whereas if you feel safe and you think you're at the top and turns out you're at the bottom, that's the worst.
True.
So, yeah, it becomes a live tribal, in my opinion, way too early for this. Why?
Yeah, it seemed a little unnecessary.
Why?
Ricard started it.
He did.
I don't think he's going to last very long. but
Blame
that's another
Ricard
move.
for starting it.
He did. He went up to Shan, and again, fair to Shan. She was the one that was like, "Oh, I don't know. What do you think? Are you sure?" But really, she gets her vote.
Because Ricard runs
Sarah.
over JD and says, "Vote Brad, vote Brad,
Right.
vote Brad." And JD stands up and he's like telling Chantel, he's like, "This is a terrible idea. It's an awful idea. Don't get rid of Brad."
Yeah.
And she's kind of like debating. He's like, "What do you want me to do? Sarah, Brad, Sarah, Brad." And then we don't hear from her.
Right.
But I mean, we find out the result, obviously.
Right.
But Sarah's like...
But it really shows you that she and JD are kind of in control of this. Because Ricard didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brad doesn't really know what's going on. Sarah got voted out. And Jeannie voted for Ricard. So Shan and JD are probably the head honchos in this.
I will say it was everything now is in retrospect, because at the time you don't know. Like Chantel told Sarah, like, oh no, you're safe. Play your dice.
Don't play your dice.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, that's because she wanted Sarah to go home.
But at the moment, I was like, okay, because Brad's about to go, and so when Chantel said she's playing the evil music, she
really is.
She's the villain of the season. I thought it was gonna be David, and it still could be him, but I think Chantel is actually going to be the villain of the season, which can mean one of two things. In fact, I think it means both. She gets to the end, if not near the end, but she's not going to win. It is so... I just got done analyzing all the previous Modern seasons. To be fair, this one has a lot of different flavors, but it's still Survivor. And typically, you do not edit the winner as the villain.
Yeah, but that wasn't an obvious edit of a villain. I mean, you would know better than
obvious. Me. She literally has the evil song.
Well, that's right. She had an evil song. Okay.
If it wasn't for the evil song segment,
I'm just saying she seems super likable right now. I'm sure even Sarah was
I really like her.
Oh, I can't believe that, Ricard voted for me and thinks that Sarah didn't vote for her or whatever. But anyways.
Because the breakdown of these votes is interesting. So it goes 4-1-1. And how that breaks down, I'm going to read these off for you. People who voted for Sarah: Brad, JD, Ricard, and Chantel. So they are all together voting for Sarah. Even Brad, who Ricard tried getting rid of, even though he voted with Ricard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That shows that Chantel and JD are really in charge of this, because Ricard wanted Brad out.
JD's not in charge.
Brad didn't really know what was going on. Right. Okay. Sorry.
Chantel's in charge.
But JD did tell Chantel, hey, don't do Brad. It's not a good idea right now. So they're the ones that got what they wanted out of it.
And the really because obviously... Sarah voted not obviously.
That's what I'm saying. Jeannie voted for Ricard, and she has no idea what's going on.
Sarah voted for Brad. That's where our Brad vote is.
Right.
But Jeannie voted for Ricard, and she looked totally oblivious as to
she had no idea
why was I not on the loop on this? Right. I think it's very telling that they didn't even include her. Like, they could have made this. They totally could have made this a clean sweep, a 5-1. But maybe Sarah would have played her dice. I don't know. Anyways, Jeannie's not on the loop, and that's no bueno. But I feel like Jeannie, they're going to go back to camp, be like, oh, Jeannie, we don't tell you because we don't want Sarah to catch on to our live travel's happening.
Yeah. It was kind of weird.
It was.
It was crazy.
So that's our 2-hour premiere. That's all the main notes I have. Anything you think we should talk about before we get over to the winner analysis segment?
Oh, am I not going to do my Rebus part?
That was going to be after. But we can do the Rebus first.
Sorry,
no, let's do the
mind.
Rebus. No, I'm okay. Let's do the Rebus first.
Well, it was pretty simple.
All right. So what is on the Rebus? Just
so
remind
the picture is of a sundae, which you might think would be an ice cream cone, but it's not an ice cream cone. Or you might think ice cream. It's not ice cream. It's a sundae minus the word sun. So you just have the word day left. And then there's a magic wand. You know that by the little stars coming out at the end. Minus the letter D. So take off the letter D from wand and you have one or one. And then you have the letter A plus 2 lions. So A lions. So you have Day 1 Alliance.
Yep.
That's it.
Mary figured it out in less than a minute. I was like, bravo.
I mean, I was pretty tired. And when I saw the Sunday in the sun, for some reason I was thinking day. So I took away day first. But anyways,
I think I did the same thing when I was trying to solve it before you said what the answer was. So
I was tired.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was easy and it was fun. I like them.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing to throw in. It doesn't take away from the actual game, and I'm all on board if you want to add things that don't take away from the game.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to jump over to our winner analysis segment, and as a reminder, again, we do not know anything in terms of we don't know who the winner is.
Right.
I'm sure you could find if you really wanted to, but I like to do this without cheating. So here's where we are.
We like the mystery.
I personally, Mary, and you can tell me what you think as well. I personally have 4 people from just this 2 hours where I'm like, these are what I consider contenders. These are people who are giving complex confessionals. Confessionals where it's more than just, oh, I went and did this thing, or we did this thing and now, we made fire. Like those generic ones. Or I'm so excited to be on Survivor. Like that generic stuff we get from most people. Okay, so here's my 4 people in no particular order, just the order I wrote them down in. We have Evie from the Yellow Tribe. We have David from the Yellow Tribe. We have Ricard from the Green Tribe and Chantel from the Green Tribe. I have nobody from the Blue Tribe. Those are my 4 people. Evie, Ricard, David, and Chantel. And eventually I'll learn David's last name and how to say it, but for now it's David.
Voce? Pretty sure.
Okay. Well, you guys know who I'm talking about who are listening. So this is my 4 people. I can explain each, but is there anyone else besides 4 people I just mentioned that you thought could be contender?
For the winner.
We're thinking strictly who looks like they could be a winner from just what we've seen so far.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I think if you're going to have Ricard in there, you could also add JD. I mean, wait. Do you have
No
Xander?
way.
Not
JD.
Do you have Xander at all?
I don't have Xander.
I would possibly add Xander just because he's very likable and flies under the radar right now. But we don't hear a lot from him.
And that's
right
why
now,
I didn't put him in there. That'd also be 3 people from the Yellow Tribe too, which would be interesting if that was
crazy.
the case. So I'll run through each of these 4 and why I think so. Evie, we hear from nonstop. I have not seen the confessional
All the
count for this. Have not seen the confessional count for this episode, but somebody who speaks nonstop in a modern Survivor season typically is either the winner or is someone who makes like the final episode. They're usually what we call the narrator for the season. So Evie, I believe, is in the narrator position. I don't think that means she's the winner. In fact, I'm getting strong post-merge boot vibes. That's what I'm getting. I'm really feeling like we make the merge sometime after that she's gone. So she could make the finale. She could be final 6. But I'm just getting strong. I'm getting strong vibes that she's not going to the end and winning. But I could be wrong. Has only been 1 episode, and things change quite often. For Ricard, he didn't get a lot of confessionals, and of course, he did literally tell Jeff Probst to stop saying guys. So boss move, I guess, for Ricard. But anyways, so Ricard, his confessionals are not necessarily quantity like Evie, but quality. Every time we get a confessional from him, it feels like it's a complex confessional. Feels like we're getting his personal thoughts, his strategic thoughts. We're getting more than just like surface level. I feel like we're really getting what he's thinking. And it's not we're getting it a lot, but when we get it, it means something.
Right.
And so he's a strong one. The next player I have is David. Now, David, to be fair, was really strong in the first half of the episode. Second half,
Not so much.
not so much. And that kind of hurts, in my opinion, because the second half is really where you want to be strong at, because second half is where all the I almost said strategery, all the strategic talk happened during. David got a lot during the, of course, during the decision for the challenge. But I feel like just in general, the way David was talking gave me and once again, like Evie, reminds me of somebody who's going to make the merge, probably going to go after the merge. But his confessionals were also his personal thoughts. What would he do? Why did he do it? He really gives emotion, and people who do all these things are things I'm looking for. And then the 4th person is Chantel, which we've discussed in depth here. I think Chantel's getting a strong villain. I don't want to say villain, but it's almost like she is getting the villain. It's so strange, man. We went into this preview. We did the preview for the season. I would not have guessed her as the villain of the season, but
I mean, she did say in her
definitely
little
setting her
thing.
up. Yeah, it's true. They're setting her up as the villain. And so right away, so when you're the only ones being set up as like the true villain of the season, and you're getting this much confessionals, and we're literally seeing you influence people at Tribal Council, I mean, it's Modern Survivor. She could also be the winner. All 4 of these people, I feel like, are on my radar to be a winner.
Right.
My prediction is the strongest contender is between Chantel, Ricard, and David. I don't think Evie is in a position to win, but she is on my radar. Things could change. It's only been 1 episode.
True.
Heck, Chris Underwood got 0 confessionals in his season, in his
0
first episode. So who really knows?
Who really knows?
Who really knows? Except for those who were there. Okay, so do you have anything else to add to the winner talk, Mary?
No, I would agree with you on all of that.
All right, so I'm going to pull up some questions here. I did ask you guys on YouTube, and I'll do this every week, right when the episode ends, what questions you have. And so I have not gone through these yet, so I'm just going to skim, and we're going to find some, we're going to answer them. So the number one I'm seeing is from Minty, who asked, how calculated do you think Jeannie's Ricard vote was, and do you think she'll receive backlash for it? Do you think it was on purpose, I guess? Let's start there.
I mean, we kind of discussed that. I really don't think she had any idea what was going on. So
From what we could see.
So I don't think it was calculated.
Yeah, it definitely looked like she was just out of the loop, and not in a good way, because I feel like if she was to accidentally throw a vote on somebody, it wouldn't have been on Ricard.
Yeah, I feel like she was actually just voting for who she wanted out. I don't think she likes Ricard. Because not even Brad told her to vote for Sarah. So
well, we did see Ricard and Jeannie talking in this episode too about.
Yeah, they were all getting along. Remember all that kumbaya?
Oh, that's right. This is the kumbaya trial.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't think she really actually knew what was going on. And so she just threw a vote out there.
We definitely don't get the content from her that screams somebody who is making the decisions around here.
Right.
So,
I don't think we heard any confessionals from her except for her introduction.
Her introduction thing. Yeah.
I mean, I probably am wrong, but if we did, it wasn't anything at all.
Yeah. I mean, nothing off the top of my head. Nothing stands out. Okay. The next question is from yes/no_ya. What was your favorite moment in the episode? And how'd you feel about the summit? We already discussed the summit, so you don't really have to talk about how you felt about the summit. But what was your favorite moment in this episode?
Chantel's theme song. That was my favorite moment.
For me, it was JD's mess of a story.
Yeah.
But Chantel's evil theme song is a close second.
It was pretty epic.
Hayden Faith asked, thoughts about the immunity dice roll?
I mean, we kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I wish it was an actual dice roll and not dropping it into a jar. But we don't know yet. We
that's
haven't
the thing.
seen
I'm
it.
thoroughly in the camp of I don't know how it's going to play out yet.
Right.
So I'm not sure. I'm actually more curious about the beware advantage, frankly.
Right.
Because we saw Jeff plant it and then nobody has found it. Even, by the way, we didn't even talk about this. The fact that Jeff was just walking on a path and just planted at eye height. Oh my gosh. All the issues of Modern Survivor right there. And one thing, on the walking
Well, she
path.
still couldn't find it.
It's just like in Island of the Idols when I forgot what her name was, but she just found one at waist height on the walking path, and it happened multiple times. And I'm like, why aren't we actually hiding these things? They're not being hidden at all. So this is just my personal annoyance. Let's see. Somebody asked, who do we think's in a good position to win? That was the previous segment. We were talking about that. They don't know that though. All right. Next question is from Gray Cinnabons. What's your thoughts on the new editing choices? I personally don't know how to feel.
So the slow-mo and
everything.
It's just new and they're trying to make sure it's new. So it might just take some time for me to get used to this style because it's just a different style. I don't mind the slow-mo. I've always liked slow-mo.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
To me, it felt random at times. Slow-mo is cool, but it needs to be meaningful.
Sure.
And to me, it felt random at times.
So not meaningful.
When Brad jumped into the water, it's
that was funny because he just did a huge belly flop.
No, he didn't. I thought he did perfect.
No, it was a belly flop.
Was it?
Yeah, that's why Jeff said sarcastically, nice entry or whatever.
I thought Jeff was complimenting
him. No, it was
him.
a big belly flop, and that was why it was in slow mo.
All right, my bad.
When he's chopping coconuts at camp, sure, that's kind of random, but
yeah, to me it felt like it was it would randomly.
I'm sure it could be better.
Yeah. And I imagine all the techniques we're seeing here will probably be refined a little bit in 42, but the way they're shooting the show is the way they're shooting the show. So expect this to carry on through the season and probably through 42 to some extent. Okay. Do you think Chantel or JD was the bigger power player in UA's tribal council? Asked by Underdog Survivor.
Chantel. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we both agree. JD seemed like he was a swing vote. Not that he really would have been, but
no, he
wouldn't have been a swing vote even if he had voted differently. But it was definitely Chantel was the power player.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Even though it's interesting because we saw Ricard tell him to do something and he went to Chantel and Chantel told him something different. So it's who really has the power. More questions about the editing. Why did Jeannie vote for Ricard? Guys, I don't know.
Well, let me call her.
I mean, whatever they put in the episode's what I got, and we haven't rewatched it, so we're just over here guessing like you do. Do you think the high stakes of challenges will give an advantage to physical players? Asked by Jonah Whitney. The high stakes of challenges for the Flint and Machete, I think we're talking about.
Well, is there one tribe that is more physically capable than another tribe at this point?
Any tribe but the Yellow Tribe now, because they just got rid of Abraham. This is big. He was a lot of muscle.
Yeah. I think again, a lot of this is really mental. You can be physically strong, but you have to be.
What matters.
No, you have to be mental, have that will. The Blue Tribe only won because they didn't give up when they got so far
And they
behind.
got all the pieces out of the bag.
Right.
Like, no mental mistakes.
So, sure, physical matters. We know
Well, they
that,
did have mental
but
mistake. Just, it was one that I wouldn't have even thought of either. With that
sure.
bag. Yeah.
I mean, if we literally saw it fall off after they ran away from the thing. So, anyways, possibly, but I really think you can't undermine your mental fortitude.
Next question is from Ghostly Bull. How do you think that Sarah could have had a better outcome? How do you think Sarah could have avoided her fate of being voted out? The first obvious question. I mean, the first obvious answer is play her shot in the dark.
Right.
But that was only a 1 in 6 chance. And you'll only play once in the whole season. It's like, do I want to play the first tribal? It's a hard decision to make. It's not one I want to. It's not a position I'd like to be in.
Well,
Once you play it, everybody knows.
Right.
Everybody knows you don't have it anymore.
I think that
It's
if Sarah wanted to progress, she really needed to try, even if she didn't like JD, even if she got bad vibes from JD, whatever, she really needed to try and build relationships more. Because it seems like she just stuck to Chantel and that's all she did. And she didn't try to build more relationships with other people. Because if you fail at a puzzle, it really doesn't, I mean, you have different reactions. She immediately was like, oh no, I'm going home, I've lost, and Chantel helped me.
yeah.
You know, versus like, you know, guys, that was a terrible puzzle. What can we do to be better? And really try to just talk to people and talk up herself and try to get involved. I think she just kind of was defeat from the beginning.
Yeah. It just hit me and I don't know why. I'm sure it's hit other people before me. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the first one to think of this. But I remember so many people have said, why don't they do a season where everyone gets a media idol at the beginning of the game? Everyone's just handed one and then we'd have no others. Just that's only immunity idols. That would be crazy. And to be fair, there could be no idols this season. We haven't seen anyone there. I mean, people have looked for an idol. Sure. That's basics, but I mean,
just
we've
advantages.
seen advantages hidden. So there could be no idols. And if you really think about it, the dice that everyone was given is an idol. I mean, it's not a full powered idol. It's a one
chance of an idol.
Yeah, it's a chance of an idol. So
it's a 16.7% idol.
Yeah, whatever David said. I mean, he's not wrong. But it is it's the same basic idea. If everybody gets this, here you go. I really wonder if there will be any idols this season. Because there's so many other things happening. Protect your vote, risk your vote. They're definitely high up on the votes thing, like you're losing your vote and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. It's one I think I've thought of before, but other people have thought of as well. I'm not claiming that I'm the first. It's just something I thought, man, if everybody got an idol but there were no other idols, how would that play out? And then other people are like, well, what if everyone played their idol tribal? I'm like, well, I guess no one got voted out then for that one tribal, but don't worry, it'll come back to haunt them. But anyways, okay. This is not a question, but somebody said Ricard has no shot of winning. Agreed?
I agree, actually.
I don't agree. I think that people can start off weak and then end strong.
Yeah, he could improve, but if he continues with the gameplay that he had tonight, I don't think he'll win. He could probably get far. I think he's going to get far. I don't think he'll win.
The Kicks boy said Ricard has no shot of winning. I just want to give everyone credit who's I read questions off of. Okay, that's all the questions I see that we didn't already talk about. Somebody did mention, I'm not going to read exactly what they said because they kind of go on a rant, but how do we feel about the dropping of the word guys? I'm going to say personally, like the word guys, I looked up the dictionary definition to make sure I'm not going crazy. If it's used for a guy, if it's used for one person, does mean a male, but guys in general sense has nothing to do with a person's like sex or whatever.
Well, especially if you're from like the Midwest, it's always kind of just, it's been like y'all, guys or y'all, depending on which country or which part of the country you're from. It usually just means a group of people. The
dropping of the guys to me is not really like an issue. It's more of the fact there was a whole discussion about it in the episode. It's like, there's so many other things to do here. Like Jeff could have just said, come on in and we could just moved on with life, but there had to be a whole discussion about it. And it's like, okay, well, it's like, well, I guess we're talking about this now. But at the same time, I guess it kind of answers the question because everybody would be like, hey, have you all noticed that Jeff doesn't say guys anymore? And then there'd be a discussion, and then people would ask Jeff. So I guess if you address it in the show, Jeff doesn't have to answer 1,000 tweets that he says he's not going to read anyways on Twitter.
Sure.
That, which, by the way, another meta moment where he says, at Jeff Probst. So that's how I feel about it. Do you have any further comments?
Not really.
Okay. That's sounds like we got everything, and wow, only an hour and 20 minutes to get through all of it. Next time it'll be shorter. We'll only have one episode's worth of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll have to explain all the new things that have been thrown at us either. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.